Hey guys, welcome to Summer Game Fest Week 7.
Week 7, there's been a lot.
Yeah, there's been a lot going on.
Still going strong.
What's crazy to me is that they were planning on trying to fit all this stuff into the summer anyway.
Well, yeah, I mean, not all of it would have been in E3.
Yeah,
I'm guessing there was extra stuff because of the whole...
I mean, not E3 specifically, but E3
That's
or PAX or what's the dev one?
You mean GDC?
GDC.
Yeah. That one's a little... It's not really just a game announcement thing. It's more of like a game-making conference.
There's all kinds of things going on. Yeah,
there are some things like that. Anyway.
Yeah.
Let's jump in. We had a bunch of stuff happen this week. So, well, we're going to talk about Day of the Devs, but before that... Before the Day of the Devs thing,
right,
was the announcement of Crash Bandicoot 4.
Yeah,
you saw that, right?
Crazy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like another Crash game.
That was my impression about it. It looks like another Crash game.
It does. It looks like
great.
One of the remasters. Yeah, it looks like one of the Insane trilogy.
Awesome. That looks really cool, but
it just looks like another one with some new stuff in it. The impact it had on me was, I have the Insane trilogy. I'll play them now.
Yeah.
So I recorded all of the first one in a couple days, and I'm very close to finishing the second one. They're not long games. They're infuriating at some points, so you get to watch that, get to hear, and that's with face cam, so you get to see my anger. The high road? The high road is the garbage level.
Whew, everybody talks about the high road.
Yeah, man. Oh, man. Anyway, so I'm playing all three of the first ones, and we'll put those up before the fourth one comes out, whenever that is. But yeah, other than that, it's another Crash game.
Look, that's awesome.
I'd rather have another Spyro, but that's fine.
They are equal to me. They really, really are.
I like the non-infuriating 3D platformer.
And then very, very timely reference. Elf.
Alf shows up.
Oh, by the way, if you don't know who Elf is, he stands for Alien Life Form.
Yeah, he was a character in
an 80s sitcom.
There was an 80s sitcom called Alf, and he was in it, right? Was it called Alf?
He's the main character, yeah.
Right. I didn't know if he was just a character in another show.
And he liked to eat cats.
Yeah, it was a weird choice. Maybe it's just Jeff Keighley loved Alf as a child.
I don't know, man.
And was like, hey...
Well, this would be Tim Schafer, because this was the one run by Double Fine.
Well, no, but it wasn't. It was Jeff Keighley that interacted with Alf, though, because this was like right after the
was it?
This is right after the Crash announcement.
Maybe you're right.
It was.
That's still weird. No matter what,
it was strange either way.
Yeah.
It would be less strange if it was Tim Schafer, I guess.
Yeah.
But anyway, Alf was there. Cool.
Sure, man.
Cool. I literally skipped those. I didn't care. But then we got into Day of the Devs, which might have been my favorite, like, game showcase of the summer so far. Both because I was like interested at some level in all of them, and also I liked how it was presented.
Yeah.
I think they had a really good lineup also of diverse types of games with different artwork and play styles and stuff. So I was excited for this one.
And it was all specifically indie games,
yeah.
Honoring the developers of these games without publishers. So
right.
Day of the Devs,
hosted by among others Tim Schafer from Double Fine. So it also had kind of a weirdness is okay kind of aspect to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so that was really fun too.
It was real cool. So, like so many other things, this had just a crap ton
It had a lot
of game previews.
30 games or something.
We're going to pick just a few of the ones that were big highlights for us, but I agree with Fox. Everything looked at least somewhat interesting.
There was not a single one where I was like, I wouldn't play that.
Yeah, absolutely agreed. And so I really recommend, we both really recommend you guys go watch the whole thing. At the very end, like there's this concert that kind of goes on, and then before that is just talking whatnot. The whole presentation itself is about 45 minutes long. So
yeah, the concert was from what's the band?
I don't know. I didn't watch it.
Oh no, it was from I forget what it was.
Yeah, bottom line though is that if you want to just get those game previews, it looks like a 2-hour video, but it's only actually about an hour to 45 minutes.
There's the live stream coming up, and for some reason they include 45 minutes of nothing in the video. I don't know why.
So anyway, let's get into this.
Yeah.
Let's go. Okay, so I'm going to start off with The Artful Escape.
Yes. It looks so fun.
It looks so fun.
So fun.
Okay, here's the premise of the game. A teen guitar prodigy is looking for his stage persona.
Yeah.
So this guy's like a rock and roll prodigy, but he wants a different persona.
A kid in a normal town.
Yeah. And so to me, it looks like a Boston concept album made real.
A little bit, yeah. You can see that being the cover.
Yes, and he's like in a space suit, and not like a real astronaut suit,
it was like a fantasy kind of
fantasy sci-fi type of thing,
it reminded me of like 60s or 70s sci-fi
Buck Rogers
book covers or something.
Yeah, absolutely,
definitely stylized and
but
fun.
As you're going through, the music you're playing is part of the mechanics of the game.
You have your guitar and you're like, wee! And like these cool guitar wails.
It looks so cool.
It was super fun. It
looked so much fun. Yeah. And then of course
it's space operatic.
It's gonna deal with this kid trying to find out identity. I think that's probably gonna be the main theme of this is identity of
what
who you
good
are,
indie games do. What all good games do is present you a fun play style and visual, but also attack some interesting concepts. So definitely seems like that.
It does.
I'm gonna talk about the very next one, Starbase.
Okay.
I don't play many MMOs, and if I do, it's like for a couple days because I got the hankering to play Lord of the Rings online or something. And it's purely a single player experience for me. I just find some quests and do them, and just to get it out of the old system a little bit. This one looked really interesting. This one was a voxel based MMO where basically everything was destructible.
Right.
And it's high, and I like the idea of being able to detailed construction of certain ships and being able to make your super detailed custom ship instead of just choosing from a set number or a certain type. And I mean, for an indie MMO is a weird concept already.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's not something that happens very often. They exist, of course, but the scale of this one looked pretty huge. I'm really excited. Or that'll be one where I definitely do the free trial. Where it's the 30-day pass or whatever and see what it's like. But that's definitely one I could see myself trying out.
MMOs in general to me aren't very appealing, and so this one, from the get-go when they're like, this is a space MMO, I'm like, oh, well, this is probably one that I was least interested in. In fact, I don't really have notes on here about it other than MMO. But for an MMO, the things they're trying to do are very interesting.
Yeah. And
I'm really curious to see how they execute these in an ongoing MMO world. So, did you... Fox has tried to Google a game and autocorrected to spinach.
Because the game I'm Googling is Spinch.
Right.
But we'll get to
Spinch, because I have things to say about that too. But Inglet was one of the games that really struck me. So Inglet, they very much quote-unquoted the word platformer a lot.
They called it a non-platformer.
Yeah. And the way this whole works is it's kind of a music physics-based quote-unquote platformer where there are bubbles around essentially, and you're meant to keep momentum and with music aim for the next bubble and shoot yourself out of one toward the other. And if you're a nerd like me, you know that there are Mon Calamari that swim and can shoot out and things like that, and it's from the Star Wars universe. Really reminded me of things like that. But the whole idea of having this go to music and flowing, what it really reminded me of was King's Bird, which was a demo that we played at PAX 2 years ago. I don't know whatever came of it. I really wanted to play it, but I don't think it might still be in development. Yeah.
Let me Google it on this computer. Keep talking about it.
The whole thing for King's Bird was, he says, it's supposed to be flowing. It's
on Steam.
And is it? It's available now?
Yeah.
Man, how did I not know that?
It's $5 right now because it's a Steam summer sale right now. So.
I should buy that right now.
Buy it.
But
no, stop the video. Okay. Buy it.
What the dev said when I was there, he said he wanted it to be like playing piano, where you are memorizing the next keystroke, but it's not a just memorization thing. It feels like you're learning to play music or doing something beautiful in the process. And I agreed with that. And I feel like Inglet will be very similar to that. Where
it looked. I like the style
flowingly
of it.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Also, he mentioned something about how each level or whatever is based on a different area of Copenhagen.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's interesting to me. I like that
weird.
concept.
I wonder how that's going to work out.
Sounds like very personal in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to talk about, like I said before, Spinach.
Spinach.
Eat your spinach. Just boil it, put some vinegar on there.
Steam
it, don't boil it.
Looks like a platformer made by the Beatles.
Very much looks like a
Yellow Submarine.
A trippy, 70s kind of art style. No, it looks like it's a platformer that just has the most
psychedelic.
Psychedelic, that's the word I was looking for. Very, very colorful, very weird.
Yeah.
Almost like I don't know what the right term, Aztec or Incan, like I don't know. I'm getting that
facial
aspect
features,
of like the kind of art style that I'm seeing.
The dev himself said that it's based on art from his own little art journal.
Yeah, he has a thing like it's just based on his art style. Colors look great. I love the super colorful palette. Everything was neon and just
rainbows.
Lisa Frankish.
Oh yeah, that's
a little bit. Yeah. So that one, it didn't look like anything like as they're playing. It didn't look anything like groundbreaking. But sometimes an art style is enough for me to want to play a game, and this was definitely one of those.
I wholeheartely agree with that. The art style was what was most striking about this, but striking enough to make me interested in it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Last one I want to talk about was Black Book for two really huge reasons. This was probably the one of all of them that stuck out to me the most because it hit two really big things for me. Number one is it's a game based on Slavic folktales.
Yeah.
And so just like we've talked about 100 times before with Pamali and Mulaka, games that I've played, this goes into a culture and communicates a part of that culture to us. I love that. Man, I think that's super duper cool. Mystic Pillars was another one that did that I played. And so that on its own would be enough to really get me interested in this game, want to know more about it. But he even said, quote, "It is a deck building RPG similar to Slay the Spire."
And all of a sudden you were just like, all right, let me buy it.
Yep, here we go.
So suddenly you were just on Steam somehow.
I looked at my hands and they were there. I didn't even know.
What?
If you guys don't know, I've put like 400 hours in this.
Yeah,
Spire,
that's your game.
Yeah, but this to me, that the pair of those two things, being a folklore as well as being Slay the Spire, as well as it just kind of having a dark aesthetic to it as well. It hit on all Des cylinders.
This is one I played the demo for this already.
Yeah,
part of the Steam the Summer Game Fest. It was interesting. It felt like it needed a little bit more polish.
Right, but
sure. Yeah, that wasn't like all demos do, but it was a little interesting because the story is basically Black Book is about a girl who is training to be a witch or is a witch now at the very beginning of her witch career. Wait, witch career?
Yes.
And her
who's on first?
Boyfriend or husband apparently commits suicide, but she doesn't buy it. She thinks it's weird and fishy. And so her uncle or grandpa, somebody related to her, says, well, here's the Black Book. It will teach you spells, and if you break the 6 or 7 seals, you can go to the land of the dead or whatever kind of thing.
Sounds very Hellblade.
And get him back.
Sounds very Hellblade.
Similar, but much more like it was I want to say it was very like witchy, magic-y, dark magic. Almost, I mean, you do go to hell in the demo and see Satan essentially, or at least some demon. But at the same time, there's like an odd amount of like Christian imagery portrayed in like a maybe not like positive way, but like as something they have, like, you know, crosses in the graveyard and mentions of like, I don't know. It was a really interesting combination of things where almost like the witchcraft, the magic wasn't just like, it wasn't an occult thing. It was just a thing.
Yeah.
And these demons or whatever that you're fighting demons mostly. Like that's how you open the seals. But it's just like, this is a thing. It's just like a skill she has and not like she's worshiping the devil. So that was it. It was really interesting how but also that might be because it's based on like Slavic folklore.
Yeah.
Where, I mean, Christianity in Eastern Europe is like core to its like identity in a lot of ways.
In so many cultures, Christianity came in as a secondary thing and then got merged in. And I'm like, I know that with Mexican culture, Catholicism matches up right there with a lot of like the Ixtapa and
so you have like these combinations
and
of
like
cultural icons, and it's really stuck out to me a lot. So you would definitely enjoy it too.
Yep. I'm excited.
The last one I'll talk about, even though there's lots I want to talk about, the last one I'll talk about is Panzer Paladin.
Oh, good. I'm glad you mentioned that.
Panzer Paladin, first of all, I'm a sucker for pixel art.
Yes.
Cool, like
gorgeous.
Like beautiful pixel art is always like, I love it.
Remind me of Shovel Knight.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It basically looks like another Shovel Knight kind of game, which Shovel Knight itself is obviously a throwback kind of game.
Right.
But this one had this cool mechanic of you have a weapon, but also every enemy drops a weapon, and you can use different types of weapons against different types of enemies and throw them or keep them or use them, and it just kind of added this strategy to the combat that I don't think really existed. I mean, there was obviously strategy in
Shovel Knight,
but in a different way,
yeah.
a more layered strategy. Different styles you could use, and it just looked really fun.
All of that, whatever. You can design the weapons, though.
Yeah, that's
Every
true.
little once in a while, you can take those weapons to a blacksmith, and it just gives you a grid, and you can pixel design exactly what your weapon looks like. So they showed him carrying around like a fish skeleton.
There's going to be a lot of the reason why they did that is so that people could recreate other video game weapons. And then you would share that, and it would get free publicity.
Yes.
You're going to be wandering around with the Keyblade in your hand.
Yes, that's what people are going to design first. Yep.
Oh.
That's Keyblade.
It's the internet, I forgot.
Yeah.
Rule 34, Panzer Paladin. Oh, man.
It's going to get
a weird place.
Fast, but
it looks like a great game, and I'm excited to play it.
And at one point, he was fighting with a fork, and that was cool, too.
Yep.
Yeah. There were a ton of other games that were...
Quick. 2 more that you just shout out that you liked.
I liked.
Yeah.
Okay, Skate Story.
We
talked about that. It's like a real strategic skate game, but you're skating to the underworld. We don't know why.
A story-based skating game that's never happened before.
Right.
Excited about that.
And then the other one was Drake Hollow, co-op village building.
Yeah, I put that. Yeah. I want to play that together.
Yeah. It looks real interesting. I don't know, but you're building a village for these things called Drakes, but it's very specifically co-op. So, yep, those are my 2 that
I'm gonna go with there. Eternal Cylinder.
Oh yeah,
really interesting, survival game essentially. But it has this. I was watching this demo or this trailer, and it was actually kind of scared of this massive cylinder rolling over the earth, and I was just like, "No, get away from it!" And I was like, "I should play this game, huh?" And then I'll say, let's see, Sea of Stars. Of course, I've already backed that one. I'm pumped for it. Haunted Garage.
Yeah.
A music production adventure game.
It looks like a game within a game.
Yeah, it seems purely on its unique, I can't explain it kind of way. It just looks kind of cool.
But go check it out, guys.
Yeah.
Go check it out. It's all real good.
All right. Well, that was the Day of the Devs.
Yep.
Lots of cool stuff. Go watch that video. Go watch that showcase. Let's move on.
I'm going to throw us off order here. I'm just going to explain the New Game Plus to you.
Okay, sure. Yeah. And then we'll deep dive into the other 2.
So New Game Plus Expo... and the video was a whole thing that was really, really geared toward Japanese.
They were Japanese
games.
developers.
Devs and games coming out of Japan.
Right.
And so
I only saw the first 2. So
there were a lot. The culture there is just so different. So there were a lot of dating sim style games or whatever, conversation style games that are just very, very popular
visual
there.
novels, and
a lot of them were this title 7, this title 9.
Yep.
I've never heard of these.
I know there was Yeast 9 showed up.
Yeah, so
and I played Yeast. I've played Yeast 8, and I really enjoyed it.
Yes.
So that one I might be looking at.
Just things that are notable to talk about here. A new Harvest Moon.
Harvest Moon.
Yeah, is coming out. If you guys
just in time to compete with Stardew Valley.
It's an Animal Crossing style game, but you get your own area. You don't have to share it with somebody else.
It's more Stardew Valley. For a modern analog, it's Stardew Valley, farming relationship simulator. But of course,
Fight Crab was one that looked really, really cool. So I
fight crabs all the time.
Very realistic looking crabs fighting each other with lightsabers mounted on a seal.
All right,
just swords, everything. It looks ridiculous and hilarious.
Sure.
Go look up videos of Fight Crab. It looks real good. Idol Manager. You are the manager of a pop idol.
Oh,
not you're the pop idol. You are the manager of the pop idol. All right,
it's like football manager or
so crazy.
Yeah,
but. Guilty Gear Strive, a new Guilty Gear game is coming out,
fighting game
made by Arc and
Arc System
Works, and it looks just as good.
They are. Yeah, I want to play those are fighting games I want to play based purely on the visuals.
And then Fairy Tail. There's a Fairy Tail game coming out for the anime
based on the anime.
So all of those I wanted to touch on because they're pretty big announcements. With the exception of Fight Crab, none of those things are coming to Xbox.
Wow. Well, that's not surprising, actually. If you didn't know, the Xbox One and Xbox 360 probably failed so hard in Japan, they stopped selling them there.
Yeah.
And so I wouldn't be shocked if the Series X doesn't even drop there.
Doesn't go there at all.
So if these are Japanese developers, they're just not going to develop for it.
So East, Guilty Gear, Harvest Moon. These are pretty big names, man.
Well, sure, but again, like it's just not the market for it.
Yeah.
All those like maybe not all of them, but a lot of those series had entries on this or last generation, still failed. So. Yeah,
and like
plus a lot of them will be on PC anyway. So,
like with so many other things, if you are into this, that's awesome. Hats off to you. But I will say that there were chunks for like 10 minutes where I'm like, okay, are these different games? I'm not sure.
Wait, what?
What? Like, and they all kind of started blurring.
I do want to point out No More Heroes 3, the second one, like the second game they showed, made by Suda51,
right?
Renowned weird game developer. That was, I don't know, that was the very first gameplay they've ever shown, and it was the backdrop. He was sitting in front of it the whole time, and it was hilarious that he's covering up the main action in this very anticipated game.
That sounds like Suda51.
Oh, yeah, it was it had to be like a troll attempt, basically, and it was hilarious. I'm sure there are people who are upset. I don't care about those games, so... It was very funny to me. But
if you're into Japanese style games, or if you are Japanese and you have a lot of games that you're excited for, go watch that New Game Plus stuff. If not, then if you're not really into the Japanese style stuff, then you probably can skip this one.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Yep. Okay, so that brings us to
let's talk Avengers.
Okay.
You're more excited about this than I am, but I think Cyberpunk will have more to talk about.
Okay.
To me.
Okay.
Maybe not. Whatever.
Yeah.
Let's jump into Avengers.
Let's jump into Avengers right now. So we had, there was the Avengers War Table, which was just a look at Avengers. And
a demo, basically.
Yeah, new gameplay, a lot of new stuff going on here. MODOK is going to be the main villain in this.
Yeah.
That's a weird pull,
I think
man.
Visually he's going to be a toned-down version, is my guess. They didn't really show him in it. As far as like his actual game model,
big face. He was just a scientist for a good chunk of it,
right? So I'm wondering if it'll escalate and he'll just be at the end like a big face with tiny arms or something. Anyway, MODOK's weird.
He needs to be revamped altogether.
But you know what I'm thinking is that they could put MODOK in a MCU movie, but also it's one of the weirder ones that they don't really need to. Like, there's plenty of villains to work with, so let's just take him and put him in this video game instead.
Yeah.
Not that it's related to the MCU.
It's not.
But it's just like, hey, we're never, like, let's just keep that there, and we'll fans will like the pull, I guess, but anyway.
So we haven't talked about it yet, but it's been known for a while, but pretty much the basis for the game is that a while back there was something called A-Day.
Yeah.
And the Avengers fought a bad guy, and in the aftermath of this, some sort of, like, disease or
some kind of, not the greatest timing right now, but a virus basically infected New York City.
And it ended up creating what's called the Inhumans.
Yes.
Which are a new genre of mutants, essentially.
Right, which was a weird phrasing because the Inhumans are a thing.
Right.
But they're not also, they don't seem to be the Inhumans. But it also did mention the Terrigen Mists, which is what makes the Inhumans as the actual like group. I don't know. It seemed like a strange thing.
I'm sure it'll. Like, they do
I'm sure they'll explain it. Yes, but it felt like they were trying to tell you the Inhumans are here, but they also don't want you to know or create a mystery or something.
They went over a lot of different things, but just for me, they had a big section where you played as Thor and fighting a big robot, and I thought it looked real good.
I thought it looked exceptionally bland.
It looks normal. It looks like a lot of other games, but especially if you like the Marvel Universe, it's really cool to see the things that they're doing, the way that they used the Bifrost for
that was a cool thing
like that.
Yeah, it wasn't just an ultimate attack, it had an actual purpose.
All characters have a skill tree.
Sure.
Within their skill trees they have supports and ultimates and things like that.
Yeah.
And then when you co-op, you will have spec'd your Thor to be
you'll have different levels, which is cool. Yeah. I just thought the action looked very like normal. It's just a beat 'em up essentially. And here's like it can't be held against it, but here's what while I was watching this, I was just thinking of Horizon Zero Dawn and the super intricate robot fighting in that game, where you are specifically targeting weak points on this robotic creature and being able to use its components and like fight against it. And this was just Thor hitting it with a hammer. It was like, that's what Thor does, but also it just seemed like, here's bad guy, here's good guy, fight until health bar is down, and it felt really boring.
I had a thought about that too, because I wonder how it's going to balance gameplay when you're not Scarlet Witch, when you're
Kamala
Black Widow. When you're Black Widow or Hawkeye and you are gun shooter or arrow haver,
right?
Are you going to do anything close to the same amount of damage as the Hulk or Thor?
It'll just take you so much longer.
Right.
It did show that, like, that Thor, it said that Thor mission was specifically Thor.
Right.
That wasn't just Thor, whoever you want. It was a Thor mission. So they will probably just,
I'm wondering what the balance of that will be. And it would be cool if part of that balance was, when you're Hawkeye, you have the ability to specifically target areas of the machine.
See, that'd be interesting. If they showed that, I'd be much more interested in it.
Well, this is going to be like an ongoing thing.
Understand.
They'll show more as time goes on. But
from what they showed, I was a little disappointed.
Thor killed Captain America? ?
I'm guessing it was an accident. I don't know.
He's
dead.
They just mentioned it at one point in there, and they're like, when Thor killed Captain America, and I'm like, wait, what?
Huh?
What?
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes.
It's comics though, so Captain America will come back by the end of the game.
For sure. Absolutely. And then the last thing I want to mention here is that there was character customization where you could have different costumes and things like that.
Yeah,
and for
skins.
Me, that always takes away from the story of the game. It happened with like Resident Evil 6 and a few other things where you're trying to get into the game and take the story seriously, but then all of a sudden you have the option to put the Hulk in a 1920s suit.
Yeah, his like zoot suit with the
zoot suit. There you go.
With the hat on. Yeah,
suit with a hat, and
which is a reference to an obscure like comic book that happened.
It's a comic reference.
Yeah.
But now I'm not going to take anything serious.
The same thing I like, because in the gameplay trailer they show Thor wearing his like Donald Blake
suit.
He's wearing he's not wearing a suit. He's wearing jeans and a t-shirt
with
a
name tag.
It's a reference to actually the beginning of the first Thor movie.
Yeah,
because that was the only but Donald Blake was the alter ego of Thor in like the Golden Age. He hasn't been Donald Blake in decades. So
like Diana Prince for Wonder Woman,
right? Yeah, where that was just a staple of superheroes, and it's just like what I was thinking. I was like, why? That doesn't make any sense. Why is he wearing that? What is going on?
Why they chose to have him in a skin was just weird.
It was strange for the gameplay.
Yep.
It was very strange.
So I'll agree there were some weird choices, and it doesn't look phenomenal. I'm not like dead set on this game, but I am interested in it, and I'm looking forward to seeing more about it.
Yeah. Yes. Crystal Dynamics, who is developing this one, they developed the new Tomb Raider trilogy. Those were pretty good games. Like the stories were fine, good. But the actual like gameplay I loved. There's a lot of intricacy, a lot of like exploration, and I'm hoping that they bring some of that flavor to the table that they haven't shown us yet.
Well, and they're clearly working with Marvel and comic book writers,
I'm hoping they're
like
not too hamstrung by brand rules that they have to follow.
Right. I'm hoping that they get the quality of writing that Marvel has had recently in their game.
I'm curious.
Yeah. So, okay, so that was
Let's move on to the main event.
And now for for me, I was like, all right. The Cyberpunk 2077 live stream, I guess, or just new stuff.
I done the showcase, the whatever they showed us. I'll admit, the whole brain dance thing, okay. Like, it wasn't exciting.
Yeah.
It kind of
cool.
It showed off a mechanic that's going to be in the game. Yeah. The reason why I was like, oh, that's cool, and actually kind of a good sign, is because Witcher 3 was, in large part, a noir detective game.
Right.
When you were investigating a new monster to fight, or, like, whatever, a lot of storylines, they had the whole Witcher sense thing, which every game and its mother has now. But it, like, you had this voiceover, and it very much felt like with his gruff voice, it very much felt like a thriller noir detective story. And to be able to like go back and look at, and find clues and solve a mystery, or I was like, okay, they did a good job with this in Witcher 3. I kind of like this. Plus, it's very cyberpunky.
Funny, because we're exactly flipped from Avengers. To me, this was like, hey, I remember when they did that with Batman on the PS3. However,
sure. It's not new,
and
I think it fits the world really well.
I'm sure it fits the world great, but why would that be what you want to? Like that was the main showcase of this event.
Sure.
That was probably 20 minutes of this.
My guess is because it's going to actually play a fairly significant role in the game.
I hope it does. Yeah.
But they didn't really demonstrate that, but also they probably couldn't without spoiling things.
Right.
Whatever. So I'm guessing it will be significant. So they wanted to show you, hey, this is going to be a thing you're doing. But
they
also
said more than once that would come into play often.
Oh yeah. And I'm guessing there'll be a lot of side quests and maybe once or twice or three times in the actual story. That screams to me a major like side part of the game that you're forced to do once or twice to get a taste of it, kind of thing, like a mini game almost. But yeah, so I like that to a certain extent.
Yeah.
But overall, like, so. They also allowed a bunch of people, industry people, to play the game for like 4 hours. They couldn't show us that gameplay, but they could talk about it. And so, I don't know, do we want to talk a little bit about what we kind of heard people say? It's not really part of the Summer Game Fest, but it is part of what like this whole Cyberpunk, what was it, Nightwire? Or something. It was Cyberpunk. Nightwire. Yeah, it's their term for their now monthly, updates and stuff like that. Definitely, they're from everybody I saw. They always talked about the customer customization. I always say this: character customization. It's not customer characterization. It's character customization.
Customers, the worst.
And how much? And we were talking about this a little bit on the Nerdy Gritty on our podcast, but how there is a whole lot of customizing you can do.
Unnecessary amount.
And this might be something we talk about, like we said on the podcast. We might have a full episode about it, but I was thinking, so in the game, apparently you can customize your character's genitalia to the extent which you could have either of the traditional male and female genitalia or none at all, as well as whether it doesn't matter what your gender is, you can have breasts. And so like they've put that in there as well as other things like genitalia size and pubic hair and all these things. And we talked a little bit about how, well, it would have to actually play or like makes like have a purpose in the game to like make any sense be in there.
Right.
But I was thinking, no, there's a million games in which you can customize your character to the nth degree, and it matters not. It does not matter at all. Those games never really include these things that actual people, and so actual people in real life never get a chance to play a game with a person that actually represents what they look like.
To me,
that was the big thing, as well as the body augmentation theme that Cyberpunk, as a genre has.
Yeah, to me, all of my video game characters are like androgynous Ken dolls. Or Barbie or Ken dolls or whatever. Like they're smooth down there.
Sure.
And that's what it is. Like it doesn't matter if it does not have a reason to be in the game. I get that. Customize that face.
But why though? Why not just be a pixel?
You're gonna see that a lot.
A polygon character if it doesn't matter.
Still see the face.
Okay, like you'll see your genitalia, I'm sure, at some point in the game.
Unless it's often, I don't see.
Look, I was saying we should have a full discussion about this at a later date.
And also, I would say that
thought it was super interesting.
To me, faces are much more what people characterize themselves by than anything else.
Well,
like
sometimes.
What I mean is, like, you're not going to look at somebody's genitalia and be like, "That's Frank." I can tell. But you're going to look at somebody in the face.
Yeah, I don't do that.
Fox has a book. He just knows. You look somebody in the face and say, "That's Frank." I know, because faces are something that are unique to every individual. Like, they're really important.
To me. I get both sides, but it's just, at least I think it's something unique.
It is. It's definitely unique.
It's going to get you talking about it. So at that extent,
it already has.
Yeah. So
I will say that other than little things like that, it has been overwhelmingly positive.
I'm very excited for this game. And everything everybody talked about, none of it was like, oh, it was all like, yep, that's what, yep, I'm still excited.
Yeah, and again, at the very worst, it was weird, a little unnecessary, But you know what you can do at the end of the day? Hit the random and move on.
Sure.
If you want. Skip it. Skip the character customization and move on. The gameplay itself.
Yeah, that's everything. Everybody that talked about it said it was super cool. And so, I mean, obviously other people will talk about it more than we can, but that was kind of what we could get for the actual gameplay this time. So I'm looking forward to more of that. And also
CD Projekt Red, if you want to send us the ability next time to play your game, we're down.
We really are. We have over 350 people that follow our channel. So
yes.
You know,
just
give us a call. Give us a call.
350,000 is pretty good. No, just 350.
No.
Just 350.
Just the 350. All right. Well,
that's what it was for this past week.
Yeah, there was also apparently something that happened yesterday that we just.
Fox thinks there was.
I might be making it up for sure.
I have no idea. We might have missed something. If we did, we're sorry. But thank you guys for watching. Let us know what you thought about all the presentations, and we'll see you next week for more good stuff.
More stuff.
Yeah.
Bye.
We'll
Let's not say good. That's a promise we might not be able to make.
We're good.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, we will provide good content.
Hopefully. Bye.
Bye.